The global financial system didn't collapse in one night. It cracked slowly, quietly, behind closed doors where the public never sees the paperwork. Most people imagine finance as charts, suits, and shiny buildings. But the real story of money, how it moves, who controls it, and why it suddenly disappears, is older than empires and more dangerous than war. Today, we unlock one of the most hidden economic truths shaping the wealth gap you feel but can't explain, the blueprint of economic power that blends ancient financial tricks with modern technology so advanced, it looks like magic. Except, it's not magic. It's design. Every generation believes they're living in a new age, but the blueprint hasn't changed. Thousands of years ago, kingdoms rose and fell because of grain reserves and metal coins. Today, nations rise and fall because of digital reserves and central bank spreadsheets. The materials changed. The strategy didn't. The players just got better at hiding the playbook. If you look at history closely, you'll notice something strange. Every economic boom has a face, but every collapse has a shadow. Ancient Rome hid their inflation under silver reduction. Medieval rulers hid their debt under war spending. Modern governments hide it under quantitative easing. The packaging changes, the stunt stays the same. And every time, ordinary people feel the pain first. You've probably heard the term system rigged. But what if it's not rigged? What if it's engineered? What if the gap between the wealthy and everyone else isn't an accident, but the outcome of an invisible formula that repeats itself through centuries? A formula so old you can trace it back to the first recorded loans in Mesopotamia. A formula so modern you can see it in real time through AI trading bots and high-frequency algorithms. The story begins with a simple truth. Whoever controls the narrative of money controls the flow of money. Ancient temples controlled wealth by storing grain. Today, central banks control wealth by storing data. Back then, scribes recorded transactions on clay tablets. Today, servers record transactions across millions of devices. But the power structure hasn't changed. The gatekeepers just upgraded their tools. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Most people think wealth is created by working harder, saving more, and investing smartly. And yes, on a personal level, all of that matters. But on a macro level, the level where nations, corporations, and billionaire families play, the game isn't about effort. It's about leverage. Leverage is the modern sword, interest is the shield, and data is the battlefield. To understand this world, imagine two layers of reality. The first layer is where most people live: jobs, bills, taxes, and the hope of one day becoming financially free. The second layer, the shadow layer, is where wealth is actually built. It's where money moves faster than laws can catch it, where information is more valuable than currency, and where the real decisions happen long before the public is told anything. Here's an example. When ancient kings needed more money, they didn't ask the population. They quietly reduced the silver in coins. A 90% silver coin became 50%, then 20%, while still being declared full value. Today, governments print money digitally. Trillions appear with a keyboard. The result is the same. Your currency becomes weaker while assets owned by the wealthy rise. History repeats. Only the user interface changed. The modern world runs on the same blueprint but with a twist. Now we have technology powerful enough to manipulate markets in microseconds. Algorithms that never sleep, never panic, and never make emotional decisions. Trading floors that once echoed with shouting brokers are now silent, replaced by machines that predict, analyze, and act before humans even blink. This isn't finance anymore. It's computational warfare disguised as investment. But the real shock comes when you realize this technological power is concentrated in the hands of a very small financial elite. Hedge funds, central banks, sovereign wealth funds, and tech giants, all of them operate with an advantage so large it feels unfair to even call it competition. It's like you're playing checkers while they're playing 4D chess with quantum calculators. Let's go deeper. Imagine a modern skyscraper in New York or Dubai. Floor by floor, it looks like a normal corporate building. But inside certain offices, behind soundproof glass and biometric locks, teams run models based on military-level mathematics. They simulate economic scenarios just like governments simulate war plans. They can predict how a small policy change in Japan will ripple through European markets, and how that ripple will affect your grocery bill in Pakistan or India. Meanwhile, people outside the building argue about gas prices without knowing the storm was forecasted years before. This combination of ancient wealth philosophy and futuristic financial engineering is what I call the dual age of money. One foot in history, one foot in the future. It's the same system, just more refined, more disguised, and more automated. And this duality is exactly why the average person feels confused. You're told to understand money, but you're shown only the surface. The blueprint remains hidden. Here's the part nobody likes to talk about. Wealthy empires throughout history didn't stay wealthy by being fair. They stayed wealthy by mastering the psychology of the masses. When people panic, they buy too late or sell too early. When people feel safe, they borrow too much. When people feel confused, they follow the herd. And every one of these reactions can be used to extract wealth, quietly. In ancient times, rulers used fear and superstition. In the modern world, institutions use data and media. Markets rise and fall not always because of economic forces, but because the right people say the right words at the right moment. A press conference can erase $1 billion or create $1 trillion. A single interest rate sentence can change the path of your entire financial life. Words have always been the currency of power. So how do you break out of this loop? You don't fight the system. You learn the system. You study history not to admire it, but to decode it. And once you understand a repeating pattern, how every financial empire inflates, expands, collapses, and resets, you realize something powerful. The people who build wealth don't predict the future. They understand the cycle. The wealthy invest before the cycle begins. The masses invest after the cycle is obvious. That time gap is where fortunes are made and lost. To succeed in this world, you must think like the architects, not the audience. You must learn to see money as a story, and every story follows a structure: introduction, rise, climax, fall, and rebirth. The entire financial world is a narrative with characters, motives, villains, and heroes. And once you understand that, you're no longer confused. You finally see the blueprint. Because the truth is, the system isn't unbeatable. It's predictable. Predictability is power. Power becomes strategy. Strategy becomes wealth. And once you understand the blueprint, you stop being a spectator and start becoming the architect of your own financial story.